In the June 17th edition, the Wall Street Journal reports that the AARP has decided to support the move to reduce Social Security benefits. This raises the question of why the AARP is considered to be the #1 lobbyist for the interests of retired people. This seems like a betrayal to me, one of several. For example, during the debate over health insurance reform, as Obama called it, the AARP apparently went along with provisions that would cut Medicare payments to seniors. This means that you are going to have supplemental insurance to pay for the things that Medicare doesn't cover. And the problem with that, of course, is that in the insurance program that was passed, there are no limits on what insurance companies can charge for their policies. The last major betrayal by AARP was when Congress was debating a provision that would allow Medicare to negotiate with drug manufacturers for volume discounts, and they went along with that policy as well. Now, the chief strategist says that the reason why they changed their mind is that they want to be in the boat rowing when this inevitable change happens. I'm sure that they're going to try to sell this to us as getting the best possible deal for seniors. Again, in some alternate universe, that may be true, but not in this one. In that same article, the Wall Street Journal has a chart which shows that Social Security has an estimated 2.2% shortfall over 75 years. And yet, when they talk about this, they make it sound like the sky is falling. As I mentioned, cutting benefits is not the only choice for improving the system. 30 years ago, when they tinkered with this plan for the last time, they set it up so that people over $165,000 in income don't pay Social Security taxes. So one quick fix would be to simply raise the cap up to some level like $175,000 or $200,000, and this would easily provide enough money to cover the gap. So why is it that this option is not on the table? Well, I think it really has to do with the time in which that was invented and the time which has continued up till now, which is a time of upward shifting of income. One of the biggest structural problems in this country is the distribution of income, and the changes in Social Security 30 years ago were part of the effort to shift that income. They shifted the burden of Social Security onto the middle class and basically relieved the upper income classes of further responsibility. The truth about Social Security is that even though they raised taxes on the baby boomers many years ago in order to pay for the anticipated costs of the baby boomer retirements, that money has simply been stolen. It's also true that in recent years they have been cutting the benefits by not giving cost of living increases. Now, this is very strange because of the way that they calculate inflation. When they calculate, they leave out things like food and fuel, really necessities for a lot of people or a big part of their budgets, and say that for all other kinds of things that they do include in their calculation, there has been no inflation. And yet anyone who goes to the grocery store knows that the price of food is going up and up and up. All of this leads to a situation in which many baby boomers have become very cynical. We think that we'll get Social Security checks, but that they won't be worth much. The basic fact of life is that the federal government has been loaded up with more debt than it can possibly pay. And there are only two ways that they can actually settle this debt. One is by defaulting, and the other is by inflation. Now, I think defaulting would be a very chaotic sort of solution, if you can call it that. And so what is very likely is that they will solve the problem by an increased rate of inflation in the years ahead, which will hurt everyone who lives on a fixed income, which is what Social Security really is. So really, we've come when it's a time for people to act. If you're a member of AARP, you owe it to yourself to quit them. If you are coming to an age when you are thinking of joining AARP, you should scratch them off your list because they are not on your team. And come the election of 2012, if your congressperson has joined in this parade of raping the Social Security system, then you owe it to yourself to put a new face in their place.